Phoenix, she tried everything until she became everything. Before the name meant anything, before people called her inspiring, before the messages, the platform, the success, Phoenix was just a girl trying not to disappear. She grew up in a place where dreams were allowed, but only certain ones. Doctor, lawyer, engineer. Dreams that sounded respectable. Dreams that made people nod in approval. Dreams that didn't scare anyone. At 17, Phoenix chose medicine. Not because she loved it, but because it felt safe. Because it made people proud. Because it gave her something to hold onto when everything else felt uncertain. She studied like her life depended on it. Late nights, early mornings, notes stacked like walls around her. While others slept, Phoenix pushed herself harder. Because deep down, she believed something dangerous. If I fail this, I fail everything. And then, she missed it, not by much, just enough to matter. The silence that followed was louder than any noise. No celebration, no backup plan, just one quiet truth sitting in her chest. I wasn't enough. Failure didn't break Phoenix. It redirected her. At 19, she entered business. She told herself this would be different. She would build something, control something, own something. She started small, selling clothes online, posting, messaging, negotiating. At first, it felt like progress. Orders came in, money moved, hope returned. Then reality arrived. Suppliers failed her, friends disappointed her. Money vanished faster than it came. One bad decision turned into 10. Trust turned into loss. And just like that, everything collapsed again. This time, the voices got louder. Maybe she's not serious. Maybe she's just jumping around. Maybe she doesn't have what it takes. Phoenix laughed it off in public, but alone, she replayed every word. At 21, she found tech, not because someone told her to, but because for the first time, it felt like something she chose. Design, code, creativity. It wasn't easy, but it was hers. She watched tutorials on borrowed data, paused, replayed, practiced, again, again, again. For the first time in years, Phoenix felt close to something. Then life interrupted. Hard. No laptop, no steady income, no support system strong enough to carry her through. Passion met reality, and reality won. This time, she didn't cry. She just stopped. At 23, Phoenix entered a phase nobody talks about. Not failure, not success, something worse. Stillness. She wasn't chasing anything anymore. No big dreams. No bold moves. Just survival. She took small jobs. Smiled when required. Laughed when expected. But inside, everything felt quiet. Too quiet. Because the most dangerous thing wasn't failure anymore. It was this. She was starting to accept a life she didn't want. It happened on an ordinary night. No music, no build-up, no dramatic shift, just Phoenix, sitting alone, scrolling. Then she stopped. A video, a woman speaking. No filters, no perfection, just truth. She talked about pain, about trying and failing, about not having it figured out. And something inside Phoenix broke open. Not from sadness, but from recognition. Tears came quietly, not dramatic, not loud, just honest. Because for the first time in years, she didn't feel behind. She didn't feel broken. She felt seen. And in that quiet moment, a thought came, soft, uncertain, but powerful. What if I stop trying to become someone and just start telling the truth? The next day, nothing changed. No sudden success. No new opportunities. Just a decision. Phoenix picked up her phone, opened the camera, hesitated, closed it, opened it again. And then she spoke. Not perfectly, Not confidently, just honestly. Her first video got 12 views. She watched every single one. The next got 7, then 3. Anyone else would have stopped. And, to be honest, Phoenix almost did. But something felt different this time. She wasn't chasing success. She was releasing something. Pain, truth, experience. So she kept going. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. No viral moment. No overnight breakthrough. Just consistency. Her voice got stronger. Her stories got deeper. Her truth got clearer. Then something shifted. Quietly, people started listening. Not a lot, but enough. Messages came in. Real ones. I thought I was alone. This feels like my life. You said what I couldn't say. Phoenix read them slowly, carefully, like each one mattered. Because they did. By 26, something undeniable had happened. She had built something. Not just content. Not just an audience. Connection. Brands reached out. Opportunities appeared. Money followed. But none of that was the real victory. The real victory was this. She no longer needed to pretend. Looking back, it didn't make sense. Medicine failed. Business failed. Tech failed. Or so it seemed. But every path had left something behind. Medicine taught her discipline. Business taught her risk. Tech taught her creativity. Failure taught her resilience. She wasn't lost. She was being built. Layer by layer. Pain by pain. Lesson by lesson. People now called her Phoenix. A name that sounded powerful. Symbolic. But they didn't understand something. She didn't rise once. She rose. Again and again and again. Every failure burned something away. Every loss stripped something down. Until all that remained was her truth. And from that truth, she built everything. She tried everything and failed at almost all of it. But failure wasn't the end of her story. It was the fire that shaped it. Because sometimes you don't find your path by choosing the right one. You find it by surviving the wrong ones long enough. And in the end, she didn't become what she planned. She became who she was meant to be. Looking back, it didn't make sense. Medicine failed. Business failed. Tech failed. But what if they didn't fail? What if each version of Phoenix didn't disappear, but stayed? Because sometimes late at night, when everything was quiet, she would hear them. The tired girl who studied until she broke. The desperate girl who lost everything in business. The hopeful girl who believed tech would save her. They weren't memories. They felt present, watching, waiting. By 28, Phoenix had everything she once wanted. The platform, the voice, the recognition, but something felt off. People praised her authenticity. You're so real. You sound like you've lived 1,000 lives. They didn't know how true that was, because when Phoenix spoke, sometimes it didn't feel like just her voice. Her tone would shift. Her words would come faster than she could think. Stories she never planned to tell would spill out perfectly. And the strangest part, those were the videos that went viral. One night, after recording, Phoenix stared at herself in the mirror. She smiled, but something was wrong. Her reflection hesitated just for a second. Then it smiled back. Her heart dropped because in that tiny moment, she realized something she had been avoiding. She wasn't becoming one person. She was becoming all of them. Everything she thought she lost, never left. Every failure, every broken version of herself, every abandoned dream. They didn't disappear. They adapted. They learned. They merged. And when she finally found her voice, they all spoke at once. That's why her stories felt so real. That's why people felt seen. That's why her words hit deeper than others. Because Phoenix wasn't telling stories anymore. she was channeling every version of herself that never got to finish their own. They say she rose from the ashes, but they never ask what burned or what survived the fire, because Phoenix didn't leave her past behind. She brought it with her. Pause. And now it speaks.